From the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut.
Long Island Sound Cutter Sanibel, we are underway.
The cutter Sanibel needs 3 hours to reach the scene, where danger lies 180 feet deep and 77 years distant.
It was January 1942, weeks after Pearl Harbor. Hitler and the Nazis wanted to bring the war to New York and the East Coast.
Hitler dispatched U-boats to our Atlantic waters to torpedo ships supplying our allies in Britain. U-123, commanded by Reinhard Hartigan, slipped into New York Harbor and saw the lights of Midtown as recreated in this Nazi propaganda film. Then, the U-boat headed out to the south shore of Long Island, spotted the oil supply ship Coimbra, and sunk it.
You think about the wartime effort and what was going on and what caused this ship to end up on the bottom of the ocean.
And that brings us to this spot 27 miles south of Hampton Bays, where the intervention ship Shelia Bordelon sits directly above the wreckage of the supply ship Coimbra.
We come out here and we do an assessment and we found, yeah, there's a lot of oil. And not only is there a lot of oil, it was starting to leak.
This is a piece of the shipwreck's hull, which is rusting away, risking the release of up to 1 million gallons of oil.
We've been working tirelessly to help declassify this threat. That's a threat for Long Island, the citizens of New York, but also many of the commerce and industries that make a living out here in the Northeast.
For many weeks, a remote-operated vehicle has been monitoring divers as they study the ship and remove samples of the oil.
There's a bunch of stuff down here for them that you get tangled up in and cause problems.
The Coimbra, now part of an active marine ecosystem.
There's mussels, we see bluefish, we saw lots of other life, including dogfish. So yeah, it's teeming with life. It's a great artificial reef.
It's also the final resting place of 36 crewmen, remembered by a moment of silence when work began.
We made sure to appropriately honor them.
Over the next weeks, thousands of gallons of oil will be removed from the Coimbra. The oily sheen bubbling up from below will vanish, and the Atlantic will once again hide the World War II history resting down in the deep. Tony Aiello, CBS 2 News.
Money for the project comes from a $1 billion oil spill cleanup fund. And one final historical note here, the commander of the U-boat that stalked the New York coast in 1942 survived the war, lived to 105, and died just last year.